Welcome to Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
Thank
My
you
name is
for having
Nzinga Primus. I am here today with Terry Burrus, a pianist, keyboardist, composer, conductor, fellow musician. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you here.
Yes.
We'll start off with some easy questions. How did you start with music, and what got you into playing music in general, but then also choosing specifically the piano?
Whoa. Well, I mean, for me, I started playing in a church when I was about 4 years old in Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn. My mother and father were singing in a church choir. And for some reason, while they're singing and so forth, I would be sitting there, and all I'm doing is watching the organist. And since during those years, remember, probably too young to remember, but the original Star Trek series was out with Captain Kirk and Spock and all of that. And for some reason, my illusion of being in space one day, no, because I wanted to be an astronaut. It was, I either wanted to be an astronaut or I wanted to be a baseball player.
Okay.
That's where the aspiration was. But for some reason, watching a guy play the organ with pushing the buttons and the stops and everything, it's like he was the captain of a ship. So I kind of equated that to a starship. Crazy with my 4-year-old brain. But anyway, what he was doing was intriguing me, how he was playing and his technique and all of that stuff. And I said, oh, my God. And for some reason, that spirit, and my father noticed that, too, when he's singing. He goes, oh, man, every time we come to church, he's just sitting up there looking at that organ, sitting up there. So finally, there was the guy who played the organ at that particular church. His name was Professor Costin.
Professor Costin.
Costin, yeah.
Costin.
He would put my 3-year-old, 4-year-old self up on his lap and let me bang on the organ. And for any kid, especially if you start to gravitate to something that early, that's where it all starts. So I went from that to years later playing with Lena Horne and Michael Jackson records and but I didn't expect that. I just wanted to learn this thing because it was just so intriguing to me. And by the time a year or two later, I'm in elementary school, they start putting me on the piano to be young, gifted, and black in the national anthem. Every morning we had to do that in school. I know in school I don't do that too much these days, but we had to do that and pledge allegiance. So they would put me on the piano. So that was kind of an early education, so to speak. And then of course I went into the music schools and
the more traditional
play
formal
and classical and all that stuff. And that's how it started. It started right there in the church, really. So then. My mother and father, Christmas, we're going to get him a little keyboard, and I was banging that thing out.
And they were closing their ears?
No. I think I can see my father was really intrigued because you start putting two and two together as a child, and it's like, okay, well then, and I also love chemistry and science, so they bought me chemistry sets and all that stuff that I was really intrigued with.
Yeah.
But it all kind of related to music and mathematics, and music was just all a similar thing to me, so. I don't know. I gravitated towards that spirit at such a young age. And
no, I think it's beautiful that they encourage and nurture that.
Yeah. They could have just said, "What are you trying to do?" No, they saw, and then I said to myself, if you have children, you can literally just nurture your child where you would like it. You're not going to know where a child's going to go when they're in life, but if you give them a certain type of foundation, they might do something.
That's true, yeah.
So anyway, that's how it started, right there in the church.
As it does for a lot of
for a lot of people,
yeah.
But for me, outside from the church, and I went into, listening to John Coltrane, and 8, 9, 10 years old, because that got me. When I'm listening to these people, they turned into like mini gods. They were demigods to me because I'm like, how can you play such and such a thing? How do you go around these loops? How do you get into these chord changes? How do you? I don't know. It was like stuff that was so complex. At you're 8, 9, 10 years old, that a lot of kids were like looking at me like I'm strange. I'm out there playing stick ball in the street, and I'm thinking, oh, C minor 5/5, A 5/5. These things is going through my head.
Yeah.
But, so, I might have been a weird kid in my neighborhood, but I was not the only one because there were people I ended up going to school with, especially in high school. I went to this music and art high school, and I found out there were other weird kids like me.
Yeah.
And that's another story.
Well, speaking of high school, I've heard that Sticks Evans was your musical high school teacher.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about the influence he had on you in your early days?
Okay, wow. I had him in junior high school, and he was the one who actually got me into the high school that I got into, the music school. He was a man who kind of took me under his wings like a son, and he talked to me like a big brother. If he needed to use some curse words, he would do it, and which I appreciated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he was also a guy. He was a drummer, but he played every instrument because he had a master's degree in music, so he played like everything. And he was head of the music department in my junior high school.
Wow.
So there were times when I would go over to his house because he had a studio in his house and music. We were learning music with me and a few other kids. And it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. My mother's calling. You need to come home. I don't want to go home. So Sticks said,
You're
okay.
in the zone.
So Sticks said, okay, look, he can stay here, and I'll make sure to get to school in the morning. So it started to turn into this after a while. I'd just stay over there all night because we're doing music, and he also used to be the drummer with Aretha Franklin and Sammy Davis Jr. But like I said, he did Broadway stuff, and he would take me to the Broadway shows. I'd just sit there, little kid, watch him play for these shows. And
That's a hell of a education for a beginning.
I was better than college. But then he got me into this music and art high school, and that was another scene, another level. But yeah, he was very influential on me there, very, very much. And then it's interesting, I met a lot of people, a lot of early, quote unquote, stars through him.
Yeah.
How old are you when you were in junior high school? 12, 13. So was very influential to me, I kind of put the baseball aside.
At that point, music had taken over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I loved it, as a child because I was a big baseball fanatic. But by that time, I was just engulfed with music and learning music. And then he got me into writing songs and, all of this stuff where I can, I started, it's interesting because I think at that time, he saw that I had excelled so quickly because that spirit just, that's all you wanted to do, where I started teaching the classes.
Give him a break.
Yeah, well, what happened, we put this little local school band together. He had us playing Lincoln Center and all these places. And a lot of the guys were not really musicians. I'm teaching them how to play the bass, teaching them what's going on the guitar and the drum. And we all worked out. It kind of worked out. They didn't become musicians later.
Okay.
But, but it's just like I saw myself as Sticks Evans at 13, 12 and 13. I said, I want to be like him.
Gave you the discipline, the leadership.
Yeah, all of that. He really, 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 really did. Really did. So that's why I always talk about him wherever I go around the planet. Yeah. He passed away back in the 90s, but he was a great human being and a wonderful musician, mentor. Couldn't get no better than that for me in my life.
Sounds like it for sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't get no better than that in my life, yeah, for sure.
So some of the stars you played with, I know you've played with like Lena Horne, Phyllis Hyman. What was that experience like for you, especially at such a young age?
I don't know where to start. Lena, I was about 20, 21. Wow. Phyllis, I started almost around the same time because I was with Phyllis for about 9 years and did a bunch of records with her and wrote some songs with her. And the guy from the record label, Philadelphia International president, his name was Kenny Gamble. Kenny Gamble and I wrote songs for Phyllis Hyman Records and stuff. We did pretty well. I was able to buy some property because of that over the years.
It's a perk.
But the Lena Horne experience, when you're that young and you get asked to play, I remember one time, I tell this story sometime, we were in London, And after one of the shows in London, the curtain comes down. It was sold out. And I was the youngest one in the band, in the group. And we're playing with the London Symphony Orchestra. So Lena Horne comes over to me and says, Terry, let's go out and have dinner. Let's go have dinner. I'm scared. I'm like, you want to have dinner with me? Oh, my God. So we get into the car, and Stevie Wonder joined us.
Oh, my God.
Because he was at the show. I think he had an apartment in London at that time. But, he came and joined us. So we go to this restaurant. I'm sitting here. I got Lena Horne sitting on my right. I got Stevie Wonder sitting on my left, right? I got her manager sitting over here, Sherman Sneed at the time, and one of the other background singers, Marva Hicks. God bless, she passed on. But now we're all sitting at this table, and we're ordering food, and this is the first time her and I sat together at a dinner table. All the time I've been playing with her, first time she asked me for dinner.
Yeah.
So she looked at the side of my face for the first time. She looked over here on the side. She says, Terry, how old are you? With that thick country accent she had. I said, you don't know? You know how old I am? I was like, 20s.
Yeah.
So she goes, what? Sherman, that's her man.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that. He's too young. He's playing with me. And she stood up and I thought the roof was going to be raised off the restaurant. And then Stevie Wonder looked at me and said, I thought you were 45, man. So, it was interesting. It was a long time ago. I didn't even Stephen even remember all this stuff. But the thing about it was we had a good relationship. When a musician, especially a pianist with a singer, it has to be some kind of a chemistry. So it was working. So when she said, okay, I'm going to call you my musical grandson. Oh, well, I said, you're firing? No, not firing you. Because we've been working out. Great reviews all over the place. So I wasn't born in the 40s because we're doing music from the 40s and 50s with Lena Horne, right? And some of the 60s. But that's all the music I was into.
Yeah.
So it all worked out. It all worked out quite nicely. So I stayed on the rest of the tour and hung with her for a while, and it was great.
Wow.
And that was a great experience because when you're that young and those types of audiences come out, the Frank Sinatra's and all the politicians and Stevie Wonder, all these people, Quincy Jones, they all show up to her concerts, and it's sold out every night, and this, that, and the other. And she was also an activist. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She was also an activist, and she was a very brilliant and beautiful lady. She passed. I think she was 92 or 93 when she passed. When I worked with her, at my age at that time, she was already 66, 67.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's why she was like the last guy I had. The guy I had replaced, I think he was probably in his 50s or 60s. And then they brought me in.
Hell of luck.
It worked out. It worked out. So that was a wonderful experience. And it's interesting because after the concerts, after the tours, I come back to New York. I was living in Brooklyn at the time. And I said, okay, go on to college. What else? In my mind, I'm like, what else is there? You didn't play with the top dog. It's like, that was
reached,
it. And then I started getting phone calls from everybody else. Phil's like, you going to come back and play with me again? And then I went out with all kinds of people, these tours. Angela Bofill, if you know her, Stanley Turrentine. And the list went on and on and on and on and on. Then I started doing these records, and I'm trying to go through college with all of this. I ended up slipping out of college again 2 more times, and then I went back into it. It was crazy. Because
the music was guiding you.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
So the list kind of went on, all the way up to these recent times, all the way to Mariah Carey and a lot of country artists and stuff like this. So it's very, very interesting. Bill Withers, remember Bill Withers?
Yes.
Yeah, I was his music director. Leaned on me. It was some great times, and all of that after the Lena Horne days. Wow. Now it's interesting. Even before the Lena Horne days, when I was a teenager, in high school, I was playing with Melba Moore.
Okay. Yeah.
When Melba Moore was the biggest thing, especially in the black community during those years, she was hot, and I'd done a bunch of shows with her. and a lady. The first time I'd gone out on a road was with a lady named, you probably don't know her. Her name was Jean Carn.
Jean Carn.
I don't know if you're probably not familiar with her.
That one, no.
She had big records at the time. Big record was called Free Love. And then I also went out with a very famous jazz violinist, jazz fusion violinist. So I know you probably would. His name was Michael Urbaniak. I was about 16. And then I went out with another guy named Lenny White, who was part of Chick Corea's Return to Forever. And I was about 17 at this time. So all of that happened before Lena Horne.
Wow.
I hadn't seen a good portion of the world before Lena Horne already. So it was I was very fortunate in life. But again, I always equate. Well, I've learned something. Again, if you have a child and you see where a child's spirit is headed, especially if it's something that's positive, it can make an effect to have a good effect on people. It'll have a positive effect on the child's life. It's just the nature of things. The universe kind of takes you there.
Yeah.
I never called these people. I didn't have no Lena Horne's number. These people would call me, hey, man, I want you to come and do this, come play. Oh, really? There were times I would look at on the phone, I'm like, really? You're calling me? Really?
You're like,
You know, really?
Yeah.
Stuff like this, you know, so it was great. You know, so I was playing with Stanley Turrentine at the Blue Note in New York here.
Yeah.
And a lady was in the audience. Her name was Phyllis Hyman.
Wow.
She was in the audience right in front of my keyboard. Right? And then she says, after the show, I want you to come and play for me. I owe X amount of dollars to the IRS. I'm putting together a whole new band. I got a new manager, I got this, and a new record. Da, da, da. I want you to come and play. I'm like, me?
You're like, you don't have to ask me twice.
Well, I had a little problem because I was playing with Stanley Turrentine. We were playing all over the country, all over the place.
Yeah.
And I didn't give her a yes or no. I said, give me a day or two. She said, okay. So, you know, she was from Pittsburgh originally, and so is Stanley Turrentine. And for some reason, they didn't care for each other too much.
Okay.
So it's like, Stanley Turrentine was like, oh man, he's trying to take my piano player. You know, it started turning to that kind of thing. So anyway, I tried to do both. You know, when you're a kid, you try to do both gigs,
accommodate.
You know? But then a couple of the dates were like conflicting. And one time, I had a concert with her. I think it was Rutgers University in New Jersey. Early in the daytime, it was some special event.
Yeah.
But then at night, I'm supposed to play at night again with Stanley Turrentine at the Blue Note again.
Oh, man.
And Lord, did I get there late to the Blue Note because I didn't have a car at the time.
Oh, so you're taking the bus?
No, I took the train.
Train,
I ended
okay.
up on the wrong train.
Oh, no.
So I got to the place maybe a half hour late. So he got real pissed off. And he's like, I heard you were playing with that 6'6" girl, right? And that 6'6" girl. He said he used the B word. I didn't want to. But anyway, I said, yeah, I had a gig with her, man. He got real pissed off. Stuff like this.
Okay.
Real mad.
Yeah. How'd you smooth it over? Is it?
Yeah. How'd I smooth it over? I had him get somebody else to replace me because I had some other gigs coming up with Phyllis. You know, in New Orleans and California and Texas, everywhere else. So I didn't, you know, and it was headed in that direction. Okay. You're fired. I said, So I just, let him go do it. But then we ended up working together again anyway, some years later. You know, musicians might be a little different than very emotional singers. He and I started working together again. Yeah. Years later anyway. We had these, what we call these jazz explosion tours, where I had a band, a manager would say, Terry, I want you to play for these 4 artists. They were big artists. And have one band play for them. We'd go around the country. And sometimes Turrentine would play. So we were working together on tours anyway. Like, best of friends again. Yeah. We were sitting at the bar having a drink. Ah, man, what's going on?
He's like, he's forgotten about the whole thing.
All that stuff was forgotten about. You know, it was years before. But anyway, that's how that happened. But anyway, music. Now, things are a little different now because, between the internet and for many years, I'd worked on tons of records with different people. Oh, I'll get into that in a minute. Yeah. Any more questions before I get into something else?
Yeah. So speaking of the internet and records and music now and stuff. How has technology changed your approach to music, for better or worse, these days?
For me, it was good. It wasn't a bad deal, because anybody who actually still has knowledge of music,
Yeah.
you can take the technology and kind of the technology can enhance what you're doing, and vice versa. You can enhance what technology is doing. If you just have a person who's not really as musical, and somebody just hitting buttons,
Right.
where's the soul? Where's the spirit? Where's the heart? You know, where's God? Where's the universe? Anybody can hit a button. A 2-year-old can hit a button.
Yeah.
And bang, 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 you sampled and stolen some tracks. But for me, I didn't mind the technology because I always had to put something musical in the technology, and that's why I always kept being called for records. People always wanted a certain thing that pushing a button never can't give you.
That little piece of yourself. That's
I mean, you're not going to get around that. I don't care how much AI we have, how much technology, because it's just going to get more and more intense. The heart and soul of a human being is irreplaceable. You can't replace that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
It's just like, like if I'm doing an improvisational or jazz concert, a solo, and people record the solo, and you come back a year later, and some people expect you to play the same type of solo, you're not going to do it, because everything has that moment. You're going to play something, it's going to be a different vibe.
Yeah.
It could be even the same notes, but it's not going to be the same feel. It's going to be something else. It could be something feeling even better, something feeling even worse, because everything is about what's happening at that moment, and that spirit is you can't, it's irreplaceable. I'm glad you agree with me. You can't replace that. So I was trying to mention earlier that I worked on a lot of records in the 80s and 90s with different people in the early 2000s. And the record companies at that time were giving out in Los Angeles and New York really, really good budgets when it came to especially remixes, because I was playing on tons of these remixes for everybody. And when 9/11 happened, things kind of changed because people got scared. The money's changed.
Right,
They everything closed down for a while, as we knew it. Even the record industry, things closed down for a while and didn't really recover. And then the internet was getting stronger and stronger and stronger, to the point where music kind of became so accessible, and artists are trying to figure out ways to get paid online. And some people still trying to figure out ways to get money, as you already know.
True,
So it's been the recording industry on a whole is not what it was, and it's still trying to figure out. There's some ideas as to how the record industry can get paid, because you're not really selling physical CDs or vinyl in shops here in America, and they're sell them on their concerts and so forth. About all the merchandise.
Live shows,
But things have changed out here. Things have changed. The internet. I'm not saying they changed for the worse. It's just that when life changes, it's actually a good thing, because you need to. It helps you grow, whether you like it or not. You have to move on in your life, and so you figure out new ways to survive. You know what I mean? And whatever industry you're in. So I don't. For me, early when 9/11 happened, and I started noticing the change in my finances, and I said, I would sit there in the house and go, something's wrong here. Something's not right. Right? And concerts, we weren't doing as many concerts and so forth. So things had changed. But and then years later, we had COVID.
Right.
Shut the world down for like 2 years, 3, whatever. And then I get called again to go back out with Diana Ross when she says, "Oh, hey, I'm going to go out. I'm going to do this show. Okay, come, I go, oh, great." Cool. Yeah. So, those days were fun. And a few other people I played with. Because it seems like after the COVID thing started to dissipate, we noticed in America and many parts of the world where people said, I'm getting out of my house. I'm getting out of my crib. wherever. I'm going somewhere just to go
Gotta
party.
socialize,
Gotta go socialize, hang out, whatever. So then the concerts started to take off to a degree, which is kind of still where they are today. I'm not going to get into the current politics because things are changing again.
Yes.
But we know what's going on. But as far as the record industry is trying to strive and survive. And again, even in this day and time, certain people like myself have been really, really fortunate. You know, I know there's a lot of people struggling in this, that, and the other. You know, I mean, I have my moments, but I can't really complain. Okay. And I'm not going to complain. There's a gospel song, I Won't Complain.
Yeah.
And I can't. I can't, because if I drop tomorrow, I can't say, hey, look, life is, you know,
right.
we all have my
with
bad
all, with
times.
all that you achieved.
I can't,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to, I just say, hey, thank you, it's been fun. Yeah, a lot of bad times too.
Yeah.
I thank you for those too. Because you always learn from the bad moments as well, you know. So that's what I'm saying. So when you're you know, evolving in your life, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to evolve as a better person, as a better soul.
Right.
That's all it is. That's all
Speaking
it's
of souls,
yeah.
I know that you recently played the annual Soul Bleed East Meets West at New Blue. What do you enjoy about playing with that group that's led by Seki Yukimoto?
Yeah. I've been playing with him now, I think, since 2018, 19. And then, you know, it's interesting. I did it. Then COVID stopped us for a little bit here in America, well, around the world. But it's nice playing with them because he kind of reminds me of Miles Davis to a degree.
How so?
Because Miles, you know, he's been dubbed the father of jazz fusion music coming out of the late 60s, early 70s. And Seki Yukimoto's, I can see, is very big. Miles has been a big influence on him, as well as a guy named Don Cherry, who was also a guy that when Seki Yukimoto was going to college here in New York, they were roommates, Don Cherry. So Don Cherry, and you should look him up. He's passed on, but Don Cherry had such a great repertoire of music, brilliant musician, and was also a very big influence on Seki Yukimoto. So Yukimoto is like, he took that torch from Don Cherry and Miles Davis on the jazz fusion side. Now, he can play anything. He can play pop music. He can do anything. Yeah. But he took that torch, and he's really making it work for him. Because, you know, if you stick with something and keep moving, you know, you're going to get your accolades. And he's been getting his accolades. So for me, when I get called to do it, or everybody who's involved with that group has been in the jazz fusion circle or the traditional jazz circle. So we kind of understand the emotion, the spirit of improvisation. Yeah. So we all come together. No rehearsals. Wow. If we do, we just have a little thing at the sound check, but we know what we're doing. So we come there, and it's like each other. God comes in and takes over. You know, because we don't know. I'll sit in my car, go there, and I don't know what the heck I'm gonna play. But we know, you know, that's the way it is. We don't know. It's like we go there, and then magic happens. Unplanned magic. We know the songs. He'll give us the set list, but most of it is improvisation. And once that magic happens, and the people feel what's going on. See, that's the key. People feel what's going on. The people who appreciate that music, and that's the torch that he'll run around the world carrying. So I say, I love you, Yuki. Keep it going. He's doing it too. I'll see him again probably in a few months. I'm going to Japan in a few months. So, yeah. So I'm glad you brought him up. Glad you brought Mr. Yukimoto up. I think that's where I met your father first time, right? Yeah.
Probably, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention in the last few minutes that we have?
I'd like to say a shout out to some of the folks I've worked with who are still amongst us in the living, and those who've passed on, because many have passed on, and some of us are still hanging here for some reason. Shout out to Miss Phyllis Hyman. I love you, and I always will love you. Miss Lena Horne. What can I say? My musical grandma. Stanley Turntine, who's passed on. I love you. I love you. Gato Barbieri. I love you. Miles Davis. I always love you. Love you. And Bill Withers. Oh, my goodness. Angela Bofield passed on about 2 or 3 years ago. It's kind of endless. But some folks who I know are still with us, Melba Moore, Jean Carn. I can't remember.
Blanket.
Michael Urbaniak. A lot of people. Another person I want to acknowledge is a guy named Noel Pointer.
Yes.
He was a guy I worked with some years back. God bless his soul. And yeah, there's a long list there. So, Mr. George Benson's still around. Hey, George, if you're, I know he's in Arizona. Maybe he'll listen to this if he gets out that way.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a few people that work. Mariah Carey and Michael Jackson. I miss you, man.
Yes, we all do.
He's always watching down here. I know he's watching this. Prince, all he's got. So Elaine White's still around. Stanley Clark's still around. Yeah, so I'll give a shout out to all these people. There's a lot of folks I can't remember.
But they're in your heart.
All the notes. All you got. I love you all. Ace of Base, Swing Out Sister, Frankie Knuckles, David Morales, everybody. Yeah, it goes on and on and on. Anyway, yeah, that's it. And I want to thank the creator for keeping me around here because there's some things I'm involved with right now that I'm really, really excited about, which is probably one of the things that the creators keep me around here to do. And then you and your dad show up. Say, hey, come hang out with us today. So I'm happy to be with you.
We're happy to have you with us.
Here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.